Well, good morning on this Thursday morning. A little bit of at the cross, a little bit of picking and grinning this morning. Thank you for joining the podcast. Enjoy a few minutes. Good morning, Amber. Good to see you on here this morning. See who else joins our delayed broadcast this morning. See a few more coming on. There's Kim. Good morning, Kim. It was there by faith I received my sight. Now I am happy all the day. Can ne'er repay the debt of love. Yeah, man. Well, good morning on this beautiful Thursday morning. I'm Brother David Harrison. This is the Preacher's Podcast. And at a different time today, I had a doctor's appointment this morning at 8:15 over in Johnson City. That's about, 20-minute drive from here. Had some snow last night, a little bit of snow on the roads and ice, but not bad, just a little dusting. So we got over there and got our blood work done. I'm bruised up. They had to stick me twice this morning. But I'm bruised up in both arms, but did my blood work and met with my doctor. And I have a scan set up for March. It'll be about 6 weeks. I did my CT scan. This is my 6-month checkup for cancer. So we go through this every 6 months. I see him every 3 months for blood work, but every 6 months for a examination and a scan to make sure the cancer is still not there and that I'm cancer free for another 6 months. So pray everything goes well. We'll get the day they're going to call me, let me know when the scan's set up. They couldn't get it scheduled this morning, but they're going to call me later on. So, well, welcome. Good to see you on this Thursday. It is cold here in East Tennessee. It was 21. We have to go to the doctor, and I think the high today is supposed to be 27. And some snow in the forecast for the next few days off and on. We had some flurries coming back from Johnson City. It snowed last night, like I said, and the roads were white in downtown Johnson City as was going to the doctor's office. Patches of ice here and there. Hey, Brother Dave Puncan. Hey, Miss Carmi. How are you? Hope you all are doing well. So we made it over there safe and sound, got back. And so now we're here 10 o'clock instead of 9. We're going to be in Exodus chapter 4 this morning, going verse by verse. So we've had a busy morning already. I got back and got ready for the podcast. And one of my granddaughters is coming over at about 11:30, going to stay with us till Saturday. My son's daughter, Kylie, she's going to be with us for a couple of days. We love Kylie Bug. And she texted this first week. She said, Papa, she said, I miss y'all so much. Can I come stay with y'all a couple of days? I said, well, come on, darling. You can come anytime you want to. She just got her permit, driving permit. So she wants to come over and spend a couple of days with us. So 13 in Ohio. Yeah, a little snow up there too. So you guys are having about the same kind of weather we are. We're supposed to be cold now for the next couple of weeks. Finally, we got out of that stretch of 60s, mid 60s. We had a couple of days that got pretty warm, 68. And then now it's back down, I think, Sunday, I think it's supposed to be 12 or 13 degrees Sunday. So anyway, we're back to normal temperatures here in East Tennessee and got quite a few days on my phone shows quite a few days with a chance of flurries, a chance of snow showers. So we love that here in East Tennessee. We like it when we get enough snow that it maybe covers the ground. So it's always fun to see the snow coming down, but we don't want to be locked in the house for 3 or 4 days and can't get out, power go out, things like that. But we enjoy where we're at. Here in Tennessee, we get a lot of dustings and just a lot of snow showers. Hey, Brother Gary, still praying for you and your daughter, my friend. Hope you're doing well this morning. I know you guys are cold up in West Virginia, too. So anyway, we love it here at East Tennessee. Been here 10 years now. Hard to believe. In March will be 10 years. It's hard to believe. I can't believe it. Doctor and I was talking this morning. It is absolutely, yeah, Amber, I heard on the news that North Carolina was having a chance of snow this weekend. So you guys be careful down there. Yeah, send me some snow, Carmi. I'll take it. We love it. Send it. I got a four-wheel drive. I got my wife's Suburban's four-wheel drive and my Toyota pickup's four-wheel drive. We don't have to stay in. We'll get out and go play in it. Send it to me. I'll take all you send. I love snow. I love cold weather. We back before I got cancer, we had surrendered to go to South Dakota to start a church and was going to move my ministry headquarters to South Dakota. And we were going to be church planting in that western area because before I got cancer, I guess about 60-75% of our meetings was west of the Mississippi. We're spending a lot of time in Wyoming, the Dakotas, Iowa, down through Colorado, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Iowa. I mean, those are the states we spent most of our meetings. Missouri, Indiana, Illinois. It was just we spent a lot of time out in Midwest and West. And so God called us. We were out there, and God called both of us same day. We just felt impressed with God. We was walking through the mall there in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's snowy. It was a snowy, cold day, and we've been talking about the possibility of doing something out there. And God just hit us both at the same time. And I said, "Did you sense what?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "God wants us here in South Dakota, here in Sioux Falls." We looked and drove around. We even got so far as we found a building that was perfect for a church. A guy had built it, started a church, and never did. Something happened. I think his home fell apart or something, but it was being used for a daycare. But it had an auditorium, it had a kitchen, had an apartment, it had classrooms, beautiful parking lot. And it wasn't but a few years old. And I talked to him, and he was considering making us a deal, lease with option to buy. And then we were looking for a condominium or a small house to rent, to move out there and start a church in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's when I lost my voice. That's when I caught a situation with my voice. I got H1N1, and then I got HPV virus invaded my vocal cords. Now, I had surgery on papillomas twice to be removed from my vocal cords. In the last one they did, they damaged my vocal cords. I lost my voice completely. I was out for about 16 months. And during that time, God shut that door. And I had about 10 years where I couldn't talk well. And then after 2 surgeries up in Johns Hopkins back in 2021, 2022, I met a specialist, a Jew from Johns Hopkins University Hospital. And he did 2 surgeries. Each one was like 3.5 to 4 hours each. He did 2 surgeries and repaired my vocal cords and gave me back the ability to talk. Now I'm having to go back sometime this year and get him to do some maintenance on it. I know what he's going to do. He's already told me what he's going to do. Hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. And so I got to give that, but I'm still able to talk. And, 5 years ago, I couldn't talk, 6 years. So it's been through a lot, but we were planning on moving out west. I remember one day I was out there, I was telling a lady the other day how much I like cold weather. So I was standing out there one day pumping gas in Sioux Falls. And I'd stopped to get some gas, and it was 26 below zero, and I was out pumping gas. And I said, this is something. I said, I really love it. It was 26 below zero, and I was pumping gas in that kind of weather. So I was bundled up, had my hat and my hoodie and all that stuff, and my scarf and my gloves. And I mean, it's cold, but I wasn't suffering. But I just said, man, I love it. The cold out there is a little bit different. It's a dry cold, but I love it. I would move now. If I was younger and I was in good health, I would not have any problem packing up tomorrow and heading to Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, any one of those states. I would gladly go pastor a church, start a church, do my ministry there, because I love the West. I could see us in a little log cabin out into Montana or Wyoming or South Dakota, North Dakota. I like South Dakota better than North Dakota. And South Dakota's got such a rare beauty about it. It's so beautiful, so much out there. God's blessed us with a beautiful country. I've been in 42 of the 50 states, preached all over the country, and have been around the world. I think 13 or 14 foreign countries I've been in. But there's no place like America. And I love the West because I love Tennessee. Tennessee is my favorite state, and that's why we moved here. God moved us out here, but we wanted to move here for 30 years. And I tried twice. I even put a earnest down on a house years ago. God shut the door. The lady backed out of it. So we waited, and then 10 years ago, God opened the door, and we bought this house we're in now. 10 years ago, March, we moved here. And it is absolutely just everything we had in our hearts that God gave us. And we love it here. It's the best house we've had, the one we really love. Almost like the one we designed. We got plans made especially. It was going to be a log house. And this is not a log house. It's a farmhouse with a wraparound porch, but it's almost identical to the plans we drew up. And so we're happy and content, and we're here to stay, I guess, until God calls us home to heaven. We got a good home church. And so I've got a ministry here in my office. Office is in my home up on the top floor, and on the other end of the house, our bedroom's on the other side. And we got a spare bedroom here, and then our bathroom, and then I've got a big closet in here with all my safes and stuff in it. So we got a wonderful house in a good neighborhood on a dead end road. This road's a mile long. There's only 6 houses on this dead end. Know all my neighbors, and they're kind, and I can ride my side by side up and down the road, and we can just we got hunting land about 20 minutes from here over in Virginia. We hunt. And so we got everything we need. Got a good home church, and Tennessee is a little bit slower than the other states, and a lot cheaper to live here. We don't have any state income tax, and things are really fairly affordable. And I bought this house at a real good deal 10 years ago, and it's doubled in value now. So we got a lot of equity in it. So God's been good to us. Well, enough of chit-chat, and just want to kind of talk to you until everybody gets on here. So go to Exodus chapter number 4. It's hard to believe we're already on chapter 4, but we're moving along. Most everything in these early chapters are pretty self-explanatory. A few things we'll hit as we go along. We'll start getting into some typology, and that'll slow us down because I really want to tie that in with the New Testament types. And so my wife got all her Christmas decorations down. She sure did. She was vacuuming right before I started. We just got home from the doctor, and as soon as I got home, she started vacuuming, getting ready for our granddaughter to come. And she was running the vacuum. I had to wait till the last minute to start my program because she had the vacuum cleaner going. She's going down now to fix lunch, and I think she's going to fix spaghetti for my granddaughter. She likes pasta. Hey, Brother Zach Sizemore down there in China Grove, North Carolina. Hope you're doing good this morning, my friend. So thank you for asking, Carmi. She did. She always decorates the house so pretty. She does it for spring and does it for fall and does it for Christmas, and she loves to do that kind of thing. And I just let her have her way with it. And I take her to Hobby Lobby every time she wants to go and load up the wagon. And she always likes to decorate. So that's just she's content. She's a special lady. She's my friend, and she's been my angel. And I love her. 52 years with her, and we just seems like we're just getting started, and this is almost over. So time goes by, time flies. Well, in Exodus chapter 4, we're in Exodus 4. We have already been introduced to Moses. Moses has now experienced the burning bush where God has talked to him from the burning bush. I was reading a commentary right before I came on the air. Arthur Pink has a great commentary on Exodus. And Arthur Pink has some things I don't agree with. He's somewhat Calvinistic in a lot of his teachings. Hey, Jennifer, been praying for you. You're in Franklin Woods still. You got 2 IVs in, getting a lot of antibiotics. Okay, I've been praying for you, Jennifer. I'm glad you're able to watch there from the hospital. You take care of yourself, dear. Everyone watching, Miss Jennifer Martin just came on. Add her to your list today. She is in the hospital here over in Johnson City at Franklin Woods. She could use our prayers this morning if you would pray for Miss Jennifer. I know her well. She's been in our home several times, her and her daughter and her husband, and they're sweet people. So you pray for Miss Jennifer. She's having some hard times. She needs our prayers. So we talked about yesterday Moses and the burning bush, the bush that was not consumed. And we mentioned yesterday, I was reading this commentary by Arthur Pink. And of course, I love Arthur Pink's commentaries. He's one of the greatest preachers on typology I've ever read after. But he is somewhat Calvinistic, and I try to pick the bones out, throw the bones away, and eat the fish. But he was talking about the same thing I said, where God spoke to Moses from the burning bush. And I said yesterday that was probably a theophany or Christophany, more than likely a theophany, because he identified himself as God. So in the Old Testament, when God appears in some form, we call it a theophany. Theos is God, Greek word for God. And the theophany is the appearance or manifestation of God. Hey, Miss Darlene, hope you're doing. Hey, Miss Faye, hope you're doing well. And so now we get to chapter 4. Things are starting to get interesting. God has come to Moses and told Moses, I want you to go back to Pharaoh. And I want you to ask him to let my people go, or tell him to let my people go. And Moses asked some questions about, he don't think he's qualified. But the biggest question he has is not about Pharaoh letting him go. Hey, Brother Gene, good to have you on this morning. But his question is, will the people of Israel follow me? Because they know that he was raised in the house of Pharaoh. Even though he is a Hebrew, he was raised in Pharaoh's house. And he's wondering, how are they going to follow me? How are the Hebrews going to say, yeah, we follow you? And he told him, he said, tell him that the God of Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sent you. And he said, well, what do I tell them your name is? If they ask me what your name is, who are you? What do I tell them? He said, tell them I am sent you. And that God's the first time identifies himself as I am. Hey, Paige, hope you're doing well. In the book of Genesis, God is identified as Elohim, a plurality of the Godhead. Elohim, talking about let us make man in our image, referring to Elohim. And then he's referred to as Jehovah. But this is the first time he has identified himself as the I am. And so he told Moses, just tell him that I am sent you. I am that I am is what he told Moses. So we've come to that place now, and he's told Moses what to do. And he says, he promised Moses to, he told him the same thing that he told Joseph, Jacob, and when they both come into Egypt. He told Joseph before Jacob died, he said, I told your father I was going to go with him in Egypt. I was going to take care of him in Egypt. And he says, I'm going to deliver your people out of Egypt. So Joseph is dead, Jacob's dead, all the Jacob's children are dead. The heads of the 12 tribes, the brethren, are all dead. Now it's the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. 400 years, almost 2 million plus Jews are living in Egypt. The Egyptians are afraid that they're going to take over in a war, that they would side with their enemies. So they put them under hard taskmasters. They're building brick and mortar, making structures for the Egyptians. They're working them to death, and their cries come up to God. God has heard their cry. He's had pity on them, and he's raising up Moses to go and deliver them. So Moses is to go to Pharaoh and tell him to let your people go. And then he's given them the answer to give to God's people when they asked who sent you. And so now he's got the authority. He's got Aaron, his brother, that's going to go with him and help be a spokesman. And he's got the authority from God. He's got the call of God, the command of God. And so he tells them in the last verse of chapter 3, he says, when I deliver you from Egypt, he said, don't go empty-handed. I want you to take everything you can. Take it from the Egyptians. Get the jewelry, get the gold, get the raiment, everything, put it on your sons and daughters, and take everything you can. Do not leave Egypt empty-handed. So he's given them the heads up that I'm going to deliver you, and I want you to take everything you can. I want you to leave here rich, not paupers. So in chapter 4, verse 1, here's where we pick up. So Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, the Lord hath not appeared to thee. And the Lord said unto him, what is it that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. So Moses keeps asking the Lord the question, what if they won't listen to me? What am I going to do if I go to the Hebrews and tell them that you sent me, tell them what your name is, and give them the command that you told me to tell them, hey, Miss Susie, what am I going to do? So God says, what you got in your hand there, bud? He said, I got a rod. So verse 3, he said, cast it on the ground. So Moses cast it on the ground. It became a serpent, and Moses fled from it, just like I would. I hate snakes. I hate dead snakes, live snakes, any kind of snakes, rubber snakes. I hate snakes. The only good snake is a dead snake. Somebody say amen. So I hate snakes. So Moses had a rod. God said, what you got, a rod? He said, throw it on the ground. He threw it down. When he did, it turned into a serpent. Moses stepped back and fled. Verse number 4, then God asked a big thing of Moses. He said unto Moses, put your hand forth and take it by the tail. Now, that'd been a command I'd had a problem obeying. If God had told me to cast a stick down, a rod down, and it turned to a snake, and God said, hey, Brian, hope you're doing well. Then Jennifer, good to see you on here. I'd already said that, but we're praying for you. A lot of folks I've seen are praying for you. So I would have had a hard time answering to God when God told me to pick that snake back up. I don't know. It had been hard for me because I hate snakes. But nonetheless, Moses was told by God in verse 4. So Moses put forth his hand and caught it by the tail, and it became a rod in his hand. So he's seeing the miraculous power of God manifested in his life through this rod. Threw the rod down, turned into a serpent. God said, pick it up. He picked it up. It turned into a rod. So verse 5, he said, that they may believe that the Lord God of thy fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said further unto him, now put your hand into your bosom. Stick your hand down in your bosom. Stick it underneath your garment there. Stick it in your bosom. So he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, his hand was leprous as snow. So God says, I'm going to give you some things to do. I'm going to show you my power that you can demonstrate before your people so they'll understand they need to follow you. First thing was the rod thrown down, turned to serpent. He picked up by the tail, turned into a rod. Now God said, stick your hand down in your garment, in your bosom, like the great Waterloo. You know, what was his name? Waterloo, Battle of Waterloo. Anyway, he stuck his hand down in his bosom, pulled it out, and he's got leprosy, white as snow. Then in verse 7, he said, put your hand back in your bosom again. He put his hand to his bosom again, plucked it out of his bosom. Behold, it turned again as his other flesh. Pulled it out, it was healed. So God's showing him that he's got power to do miracles through him, to make the people of God believe that this is God's servant, and to make Pharaoh believe better later. Make Pharaoh believe that, hey, I need to do what this man says, let the people of God go. So verse 8, so it comes to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken unto the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. So if they don't believe what you do first with the snake and the rod, they'll believe it when your hand turns leprous and then goes back healed again. In verse 9, he gives them a third option. And it shall come to pass that they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, thou shalt take of the water of the river, pour it over dry ground, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry ground. So he said, if they don't buy the trick on the rod, turn into a snake, if they don't buy the hand turning leprous and then pulling it out again and turning white, if those two don't work, he said, then dip some water out of the river and pour it on dry ground. It's going to turn to blood. So he's got three things, three weapons in his bosom, three weapons in his bag of tricks to go back to Pharaoh and to go back to the people of God in Egyptian bondage and tell them the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sent me to tell you that he's going to deliver you out of Egypt and follow me. So, verse number 10, here Moses begins to make some offers and some complaints. He has some objections to this. Moses says, Lord, I'm not qualified. So look at verse 10. So Moses said to the Lord, O God, I'm not eloquent, neither heretofore, not since thou hast spoken unto thy servant. But I am a slow of speech and of a slow tongue. Hey, Miss Carol, hope you're doing well. Hey, Chris. So Moses is responding to God and saying, God, why aren't you asking me to go do this? To go talk to Pharaoh. That's not the Pharaoh that raised me. He's dead. This is another Pharaoh. I don't know him. And you're telling me to go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And then the people of Israel knew that I was raised in Pharaoh's house. And I was sought after for my death. All of them are dead. But yet the people of Israel will know that I was raised in Pharaoh's house. It's been passed down from generation to generation. They'll know who I am, and how are they going to believe me? And God says, tell them who I am and tell them I am sent you. And God gives him three things that are basically miracles or magic in the eyes of the world. Three things in his bag of tricks to show them if they don't believe. To prove to them that God is on him and God is using him and he's the man they need to follow. But Moses says, but God, you don't understand. I'm not an eloquent speaker, and I'm a slow speech, and my tongue is a slow tongue. In other words, he had a speaking problem. Maybe he stuttered. Maybe he had a hard time finding his words. Maybe it's like, slow tongue. He couldn't come up with his words. So he had every excuse in the world to tell God, I can't do this. Can I just interject something here? When God called me to preach, I had every excuse to tell God why he was making a mistake. Matter of fact, when I surrendered to preach, the day I surrendered to preach, here's what I told God. I said, God, I can't do this. I will give you the man, but you're going to have to give the preacher, because I can't do this. I don't stand up in front of people to talk. Now, I sung and played, and I was with a gospel group, and played and sung in my church, and sung for funerals, and sung in revivals, played my guitar or bass or whatever. My brother and I, my sister sung, and then we were with a quartet for many years. And so I was in my own home church. I led the music in my church as a young boy, teenage boy. So I was up in front of people, but I didn't talk. I just sung. I didn't do any talking. And I thought God had given me the talent to play music. That why would God call me to preach when I've got this music ability? I just want to play music and sing for God. I don't want to preach. Matter of fact, I'm not going to. It's not feasible. I don't do that. I just play and sing. So when God backed me in the corner and done so much to touch everything in our lives, I went through 6 weeks in the hospital, had my appendix out, was out of work for 6 weeks, started Bible college while I was out of work. I made a deal with God, told him I'd go to school and take some Bible, but I wasn't going to preach. Then I got sick again, had to have surgery again right after I was in Bible college for about a month and a half. And then my daddy died while I was in Bible college, my first semester, right before Thanksgiving. We buried my dad, and then my wife found out she was expecting her first child. We lost our first child. She's about 3.5 months pregnant. Had a real problem, and she lost it finally. And God was touching everything in my life to get my attention. I wasn't listening. I just kept telling God, I'm not going to preach. My wife would say, honey, I was hard to live with. I was a mess. She'd say, honey, don't you think God may be talking to you about something? I'd say, just hush, leave me alone. I don't want to hear it. I was mean. I was awful. I was a devil to live with. And I was working with young folks and playing music, and I thought that's all I was going to do. So I made a deal with God, said I'll go to Bible college and take some Bible and music, and I'll work with young folks all my life and play my music and work in the church. I had about a 65-member youth choir at Landis. We were knocking on doors, winning souls, doing everything we could do, but I wasn't obeying God because God called me to preach. In Hammond, Indiana, John O. Rice was preaching. God called me to preach, and I said no. So when God finally backed me in the corner on that February morning, sitting in Piedmont Bible College in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, on a Thursday, February the 22nd, on the second row, this intersection, 4 rows, 4 chairs over, 4th chair, second row, center section. Everybody left the chapel but me. I was in there by myself crying. And God says, are you going to obey me, or are you going to keep running? Am I going to have to touch somebody else? Am I going to have to take something else? Am I going to have to get your attention some other way? Are you going to? And I finally yielded to God there in Winston-Salem, sitting in that 4th chair. I said, God, I will preach, but I can't do it. I'll give you the man, but you got to give the preacher. That's about what Moses is doing. Moses is telling God, you've made a mistake. I'm not the one you want. I don't talk. I'm a slow speech. I stutter. Whatever his problem was. Basically, he just didn't want to do it. He didn't think he's qualified. May I just say, most of us aren't qualified to do anything for God. God don't call the qualified. God qualifies the call. God takes a man that's willing. All you got to have to be used of God is to be willing. I mean, you can't live a double standard, to live like the devil, expect God to use you and bless you. But if God wants you to do something you don't think you're able, you're probably right. You can't do it. But Philippians says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. So if God's called you to do something, you can do it through Christ, but not in yourself. Because there's nothing good in you. The best, on your best day, you're just rotten flesh. So Moses is giving a good argument, but God's not going to hear it. He said, why are you not listening, God? I can't do this. So verse 11. And the Lord said unto him, who made man's mouth? I love God. I do. He's so funny sometimes. Most folks don't understand God has a sense of humor. I can just see Moses pleading with God, God, why are you doing this? I can't talk. God, you made a mistake. You're asking me to go back to Pharaoh. I was raised in Pharaoh's house, and go back to my people and tell them to follow me. And they don't trust me. And the new Pharaoh doesn't know me. And I've been gone. That I left Egypt because of a death warrant on my life. I killed an Egyptian. Now you want me to go back and deliver Israel out of Egyptian bondage to a new Pharaoh, and you're asking me to go stand in front of him? I don't talk, Lord. And God says, who made man's mouth? I can't talk, Lord. Who made your mouth? God did. If God made your mouth, guess what? God can make it talk. If God can make the dumb talk, and God can make the deaf hear, God can make the blind see, God can take a man that's willing. Hey, JC, hope you're doing well. This buddy been a long time. If God can make the blind see and the deaf hear, God can take anybody willing and use their tongue to speak for him. Moses says, God, I can't do this. And God said, who made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf and the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? God said, I make everything that is. I made everybody. If I can make the dumb, the blind, the deaf, If I can make your mouth, can I make it talk and say the words I want to say? Moses, you don't have an argument here. Verse number 12. Now therefore go. That's just the plain, simple truth. God says, quit complaining, Moses, and just go. And I think I could say that to the whole church today. Quit excusing, quit making excuses, quit complaining and murmuring. Just do it. The advertising years ago for Nike shoes was do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I think the church needs to get back to that message. Do it. Quit complaining. Do it. Nobody's winning soul. Do it. Nobody's singing the choir. Do it. Nobody wants to teach class. Do it. Nobody comes on Wednesday. Do it. Just do it. Quit worrying about everybody else and just do it. Quit making your pastor have to stand up and beg for help. Do it. I need some ladies in the nursery. You volunteer. Do it. Just quit talking. We're going, okay. No, the issue is you won't. Because if you volunteer and offer to be used of God, God will use you and God will give you the ability. The only ability is dependability and availability. Make yourself available. Our pastor's been talking for 2 or 3 weeks. We got our Vision Sunday coming up Sunday night. He's going to share with the church the vision he has for this year. We've got to go into a building program. We're running out of space in Sunday school. We need more Sunday school classes. Several of our adult classes are 90% full. And one class is meeting in the gymnasium, which is not feasible because so many people come in out through there. Hey, Miss Lee, I wonder where you was at. And so they come in out through there while he's teaching. Our assistant pastor has about 40 in that class. So it needs to be somewhere isolated where they can have their own class without being distracted by people coming in and out going through the gym. And we need some other classes started because our church is growing. When I went there 2 years ago, we were running probably around 600 or so, 500 to 600. And now we're running some Sundays 800 or more. We hit 900 to 1,000 several times. We're averaging 750, 780 to 800 every Sunday. And then our Sunday night crowds has been really good, 400 or 500 some nights. And Wednesday nights have been 300 or more. We have 200 or 300 on Wednesday nights. So we need some space. And so I know we're fixing to go into a building program. We just bought more parking space. We had to buy a piece of property down below us that joined our lower parking lot. We bought it, and they've got it being graded and paved now. I think it's going to add 55 more spaces because the preacher said one Sunday when we really had a big crowd, we had 15 spaces left in the whole parking lot. So we're maxed out. So we got a good problem, but that's a vision. So I've already told the pastor, so whatever you need me to do, if I'm physically able, I'm here. I give. We're taking up others offering all the way through the end of January. Went through Christmas in January, and it finishes up the last day of January. And the others offering is going to 2 children's homes, one in North Carolina, one in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I know both of them well. One of them is run by a young man that I led to the Lord. He's not a young man, he's in his 50s, but he pastors, Brother Tim Cruz. And that's the Shepherd's Place. And the one here in Murfreesboro is the Shepherd's Home. And I know that young man too, Brother Brown. I've been with him many times in meetings. And so we've taken up offerings every service for others' offerings. It'll be divided between those 2. And as of last Sunday, we've taken up close to $25,000 already. So that'll be divided between those 2. So we're doing all kinds of stuff to help people that are doing things. And that's part of a growing church. But a lot of people use excuses. I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't want to do this. But you just need to make yourself available. And God will provide. So Moses is making excuses why he can't do what God's told him to do. And God says, just go. There's a time you get to the place where you need to quit complaining and you need to quit trying to come up with reasons you can't do something and just do it. You may not be the best at it to start with. You may have to learn and go through some trials and some trial and error, but just do it. Somebody says, I wish I could get used to praying and be regular in faith. Just do it. I wish I could be faithful. My Bible said, just do it. Well, I wish I could start paying my tithes regular. Do it. What's the problem? Do it. When you do something, God honors that obedience. Once you do it, it becomes easier to keep doing it. Okay, message over. Now, verse 12. Now, therefore, go, and I'll be with thy mouth. He said, quit worrying about what you can't do, because I'm going to give you the ability. I'm going to be with your mouth and teach thee what thou shalt say. God even told the disciples, said, don't even take no thought about what you're going to say, because in an hour I'm going to give you the words to say. God will put words in your mouth. You'll know what to say when the time comes. So verse 13. So he said, O Lord, send. O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. Basically, Moses says, Lord, you send who you want to, but I still can't. But he's still not conceding. So verse 14. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. So God finally gets frustrated. He's put up with him long enough. Now God's mad, and God says, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. When he seeth thee, he'll be glad in his heart. He said, I'm just about heard all I'm going to hear from you. He said, Aaron, your brother's coming. And he said, he's going to come see your face. So he said, when he comes to meet thee, he'll be glad in his heart. Verse 15, thou shalt speak unto him and put words in his mouth. And I'll be with thy mouth and with his mouth and will teach you what you shall do. He said, I'm going to send Aaron with you. And I'm going to put words in your mouth. And I'm going to put words in his mouth. And you tell him everything you've been talking to me about. You put words in his mouth. Tell him everything. Go ahead when he gets here. Tell him you've been arguing with me. And tell him everything I've told you. And you and him are going to go together. He's the Levite. He's going to go with you. And I'm going to give you both words to say. Verse 16. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. He said, I'm going to solve your problem with the people. Instead of you having to do all the talking to the Hebrews, I'm going to let Aaron do the talking. He's going to be your spokesman. You're going to go to Pharaoh. You're going to talk to Pharaoh because you were raised in Pharaoh's house. You know how to do that. But Aaron's going to talk to the Israelites. And he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. Thou shalt be to him instead of God. He said he's going to be to you what your mouth is, and you're going to be to him what I am. You're going to tell him what I tell you, and then you're going to be his mouth. He's going to be your mouth, but you're going to tell him what I say. So God has given the chain of command here. I'm going to speak to Moses. Moses is going to speak to you, but he's going to be your mouthpiece to the people of Israel. Y'all follow me? Verse 17. He said, thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. When you go, you take this rod, and you're going to do the signs and the miracles that I showed you could do. So Moses returned to Jethro, his father-in-law. That's not Jethro on the Clampets. That's Jethro of Midian, the priest of Midian, his father-in-law. And he said to him, let me go, I pray thee. He's asking permission from his father-in-law. Let me go and take my household with me. Let me go, I pray thee, and return to my brethren which are in Egypt, and whether see if they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, go in peace. So Moses tells Jethro, I got to leave. I need to go check on my brethren to see if they're alive. So I'm going back to Egypt to see if all my family's still alive and all my people are still alive. So Jethro sends him away with the peace and the blessing of God. So verse 19, we're almost to the end. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, go and return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. So that must have been on Moses' mind about the ones that sought his life when he left because of the death of the Egyptian he killed. And if they weren't alive, maybe their family, but by now they're all dead, and it's a forgotten thing in the minds of those Egyptians. So God says, all the men that sought thee, they're dead now, so you're safe, going back in Egypt. So Moses took his wife, that's Zipporah, and his sons. He had one son, Gershon, had some other sons, wasn't named here, and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt. Moses took the rod of God in his hand. Don't you like that word, rod of God? That's what I think of when I take this Bible in my hand. I think that's my rod of God. That's a miracle-working book. I've got authority in that book. I've got confidence in that book. There's power in that book. Miracle-working power in that book. I speak the words of that book, and they stand in attention because they demand obedience. They're authoritative. So we have the rod of God in our hand. It may not turn from a rod to a serpent. It may not cause my hand to turn leprous white. It may not cause the water to turn to blood, but it is a powerful rod of God. It performs miracles. It takes a black-hearted sinner, turns him into a saint with The blood of Jesus Christ washing his soul as white as snow. It can heal the sick. It can raise the dead. It can speak life into those who are spiritually dead. It can break the chains of sin. It can set the captives free. It can speak peace to a storm-tossed soul. It is the rod of God, authoritative. Throw it down to those in your sight. And when they pick it up, it'll be a miraculous working rod of God. The Word of God is our rod of God. So when Moses went back to Egypt, he took the rod of God with him. It's no longer just a rod, it's the rod of God. Because this rod can work miracles. So verse 20, verse 21. So the Lord said to Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in your hand. I'll harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. So God's already told Moses, now when you go to Pharaoh, I want you to do these miracles in front of his sight. But I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. He ain't going to let your people go. Now I don't know how to take that. If I was Moses, and I've been running for 40 years in the wilderness away from men that wanted to kill me because of a man I killed. I was raised the first 40 years in Egypt in the house of Pharaoh. A Hebrew raised in the house of Pharaoh. And while walking out amongst the Hebrews, I saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew. I slew the man, buried him in the sand. 2 Hebrews saw me the next day. They brought it up, or 2 days later. And they said, you're going to kill us like you killed the Egyptian. Pharaoh found out about it, sought for his life, and Moses went to the land of Horeb and to the land of Midian. He went to Midian, in the land of the Midianites, and there he met his father-in-law Jethro and his 7 daughters. And he gave him his daughter Zipporah to marry. He stayed there 40 years taking care of his father-in-law's flock until God shows up on the scene in the burning bush and calls him to go back to Egypt. Hey, Amy, hope you're doing well. So he goes back to Egypt now, and then God tells him this strange thing. After they argue all this time over, I can't do this, I can't go to Pharaoh, the people of God are not going to believe me. So he sends him and Aaron together. But he tells Moses, I've given you the rod of God and showed you his miraculous power, and you performed those miracles in front of Pharaoh. Go. And when you do that, do those miracles. But I'm telling you, Moses, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. He's not going to let him go. Now, that kind of throws a kick in things for me. If God says, I've got a job for you, I want you to go here and do this, but I'm going to fix it where it's not going to work. Here, you got a rod of God that does miracles. Don't you show this to Pharaoh? This will be convincing to the people of God, and this will be convincing to Pharaoh, but I'm going to harden his heart. He ain't going to believe you. He's not going to grant your request. That's kind of strange, isn't it? What's God doing here? God is going to prove, not just to Moses, and not just to Pharaoh, and not just to the people of Egypt, but God is going to show to the people of Israel that even in the worst of circumstances, when Pharaoh's heart is hardened to the point of there's no way he's going to let him go, after the last plague where he takes the firstborn of every house, and there's weeping in Egypt overnight because of death that's come through the country, God breaks the chain of Pharaoh and proves to God's people Israel that he's the God Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I could do all things. And you think that'd be enough to convince Israel that this God that delivered them out of Pharaoh's hand is going to be a God that's going to take care of them no matter what. But yet they didn't get very far in the wilderness, and we'll see this later, until they start belly aching. Moses, why'd you bring us out here to die? We don't have no water. We don't have no food. To God was back in Egypt. We'd rather be there trying to make bricks out of straw and mortar. We'd rather be there working 16 hours a day and eating the garlic and leek and onions of Egypt than to be out here in the wilderness going to die. And God delivers them. God's trying to prove to him he's mighty God, Jehovah God, all-powerful God, all-knowing, all-seeing, everlasting, eternal God. So he tells Moses, go do your thing, Moses, but I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. He ain't going to listen. He's not going to let him go. And that'd be a deal break for me. most of us, it'd be a deal breaker. But notice what happens. So verse 22. Hey, Brother Jimmy, doing good to see you. Verse 22, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve thee. So he says, tell Pharaoh that Israel, which is the people of Israel, Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and his 12 sons now become the nation of Israel. And God is telling Moses to tell Pharaoh that Israel's my firstborn son. So let my people go. Verse 23. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve thee. Let my people go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. So he said, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. This is my firstborn son. Let my people go so they may serve me. And if you don't let them go, I'm going to kill your firstborn son. That's what he said to say to Pharaoh. So verse 24, it came to pass by the way in the end that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me. So he let him go. Then she said, a bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. And the Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him and all the signs which he had commanded. Now here's a strange story. These events in verse 23 down through verse 27 are kind of strange. So we're going to stop here, and I'm going to come back tomorrow. And we're going to go over these verses. Who is God threatening to kill? And what is going on here in this blood being shed and thrown on the ground, this piece of skin from the foreskin of her son? Zipporah took a sharp stone, cut off the foreskin of her son, and threw it on the ground and called her husband, a bloody husband art thou to me. A bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. And the Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words the Lord had sent him and the signs which he commanded. So there's something going on here. It is a little strange and hard to explain. So I'm going to stop here. It's 11:15. I've been going about 45 minutes. So we're going to stop, and I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish this on Friday and finish the rest of this chapter and get started in chapter 5. Because there's some important things here, and I need to take some time to explain it. And I don't have enough time left in this broadcast to do it. So this is like a series on TV that you come to a point, and just before something happens, it says, be back tomorrow, continued. We'll tell you the rest of the story tomorrow. It's like the Indians are around the wagons. The pioneers have got down to the last rounds of ammo. Will they die or will they survive? And then before the cavalry gets there, the commercial comes on and says, be back tomorrow and see what happens to the poor pioneers as the Indians deplete all of their ammo trying to destroy the pioneers. The pioneers are down to the last bullets. Will the cavalry make it in time? So tomorrow we'll come back and we will absolutely explain this. Yes, Miss Lee, most folks don't understand this. It is tough to understand. So I'm going to go through it slowly tomorrow. I don't have time now. We'll do it tomorrow and we'll get into chapter 5 before the weekend. I love you guys. Y'all been a blessing. Stay warm if you're in a cold area like we are. Stay warm if you got snow. Be careful. Thank you for praying for me. My appointment went well. As far as I know, my blood pressure was 107/64. My heart rate was a little high. They did the blood work. I'll find out about it tomorrow. So still, I don't know if my cancer is still gone or not. I won't know until the test, the CT scan. That will be sometime in March. They'll call me and let me know when they get that scheduled. So, but thank you for your prayers. I love you guys. Y'all are a blessing. To be continued. You're right, Carmi. To be continued tomorrow. We'll see you back in the morning at 9 o'clock. Love you guys. Have a good day.